Hello, beloveds. Hello, beautiful people. We are on episode 3 of Journey to Woke. Yay! By yours truly. I'm so excited. I couldn't even finish that. I'm so excited because getting to this episode, to recording this episode, has taken quite a lot. You'll obviously be seeing this differently to how it was experienced, but I think I took about 3 weeks off of recording before I got to recording episode 3. So in between, you might be seeing episode 2 one week and the following week seeing episode 3, but the process and the space between that was quite a lot, and I'm going to tell you why in this episode. Just a quick recap. I am now Victoria Rangaga, and I have written a book called Woke, the Culture Proof Guide to True Identity. Now, it is possible that in the previous episodes, you heard me say that the subtitle of the book is The Culture Proof Journey. I think I said to True Awakening. But as of now, as of approved by the publisher, we are actually that's the subtitle of the book, a culture proof guide, the culture proof guide to true identity. So, I mean, those of you who have been following my journey, who know anything about me, know that identity is a very important topic for me. It is something that I cover in the book. So, yeah, this is just amazing that we are at where we're at right now. So I've gotten a little bit ahead of myself. Yes, my publisher has agreed to publish the book. Technically, I am self-publishing, but this publishing house it's not a traditional publishing house. They help people who are self-publishing, and it has the same processes as though I'm being published by a traditional publishing house. The only difference, in fact, not the only difference, but one of the biggest differences is that I actually own the book 100%. So that is quite amazing, because that's one of the things that I really wanted. It's something that I told God about, and it's something that I realized a few years ago, the importance of ownership. And one of the things that educated me on that is Tyler Perry. One of the people that educated me on that is Tyler Perry, and he spoke about ownership. And when I heard him speak about it, it really resonated with me, and I was like, that's a word. That's a word, because I'll tell you quickly, even though this is not what this episode is about, I'll tell you that anyone who knows me or who knows my story, my journey, the why behind every business I've created and everything I've done really with my life, as it relates to calling, purpose, whatever you want to call it, has been about Black people and empowering Black people. And one of the things that I've seen artists, geez Louise, like, ownership is one of those things that has been taken from Black people, but also at the same time that we have often given up as Black people. So I'm really excited about this. I'm really glad that this publishing house, in the research I've done, nobody else does things the way they do it. So I'm really glad that publishing has decided to actually help me publish my book. So I'm excited. And I mean, I am the person who is like informing you guys about the process. So I feel the need to actually tell you that it is going to cost me something. Unlike traditional publishing, from what I understand and some of the research that I've done, most of the time they incur the cost. And then, they take the money from the sales the book sales, which is why I suppose they own such a huge chunk of your book. I remember reading one of the publishing houses actually lets you have 13% ownership of the book. That's 1313. And I understand the risk and all of that, but it's just something that I felt really important for me to be able to own my book. And in ownership, there is responsibility, if you're going to own something, you're going to be fully responsible for it. And as much as I believe that the publishers are going to help me a great deal with this, it is a team effort. It is a team effort in that I need to partner with them with my resources, right? So that's the first thing that I wanted to say, that I am officially paired up with a publisher, and that is amazing. And then over the past few weeks, just sort of taking in the fact that I'm getting closer and closer to the publishing of my book. It has been quite something, I won't lie. And even in the last leg of trying to complete the book, which was just finalizing editing and doing a proofread. I wanted to proofread it twice, but I was nearing my deadline, and I was like, if I push this deadline any further back, then I don't see this actually happening. So so I did one proofread. It was a lot. It really was a lot. I don't want to lie and say that this wasn't difficult. The fact that it took 4 years should tell you already that this was difficult. But even in the final moments, it was quite hard, but God's grace carried me through. And it's just amazing how God almost supernaturally, it's not that he slows down time, but it's like something in my head that I thought would take 5 hours to do took 3 hours to do. For instance, I said to myself that I'm going to edit 20 pages a day. And that's from what I said in episode 2, I said that even so, it's not like I'm working every single day in the schedule that, divinely, that God and I planned together. I wasn't actually writing every single day in that time frame and those few weeks that I was really digging into finishing the book. So, with that goal in mind, with that mindset, God just supernaturally worked within me, and just made me feel like what I thought was going to be hard to accomplish actually was a lot easier to accomplish, if that makes sense. And I am very skeptical about using the word easy because nothing about this was easy, but I must give God the credit where it's due, that he really did work in me and really surprised me in the fact that he gave me the capacity to finish, especially the way that I did, right? So yeah, I'm really happy about that. I'm really, really happy about that. And I must say that one of the things, as well, as I was editing the book, as I was going through everything, the stories that I've told, adding stories that God said I should add. There's a story where I talk about African spirituality, and it's something that I've experienced in my life but hadn't spoken about in the book. And I remember in the early versions of my book, I had this chapter called New Age Religion. And this is crazy. This is before the whole New Age thing became a thing. I don't know. I'm only recently learning about New Age in 2023 that it's actually called New Age. Whereas back then I was just this New Age religion of mixing Buddhism and Christianity and astrology and all these things. So I had written that chapter, but I had neglected to write about my experience with that, right? So it's all I house it under the same thing, and you'll read about why I house it under all of those things under the same thing. You'll read about it in the book, but those are one of the stories that I hadn't written about until this final, part, the final moments of getting this book to completion. And it's been something else, because there are so many stories that almost didn't make it to the book. And one of my biggest concerns was what people were going to think, what my family was going to think, how they were going to feel, how how they were going to respond. And I suppose, I think Holy Spirit is saying something to me right now that I'm not entirely sure if I should say, but I'll say this because I can edit it out. And that is that in those final weeks, in these final moments, one of the things that had to happen was me speaking with my mother about some of the things that I mentioned. My mother played a huge role in the forming of my identity, and mothers generally do. Through the research that I have done, a child's relationship with their mother plays a huge role in their identity. And so obviously that relationship has not been perfect, and I say obviously because I mean, it should be everyone, who hasn't had the most perfect relationship with their parents, because their parents are human, right? Where there is human, there is imperfect relationship. So having to have that conversation and be like, yo, mom, I just want to give you a heads up that I spoke about some things about our relationship in the book. Obviously those are things I've had conversations with her about, certain things, not obviously, but that's what has happened with me and my mom. And I just had to say, hey, some of these things that you and I have discussed in private, I actually speak about publicly. And it's because of the identity thing that I have to speak about it, because I can't speak about identity and share my story and not talk about how the ways in which certain people, certain relationships, and certain events have affected my identity. So that was difficult, but it was done. And I really want to tell you one of the things that she said. Sure. She, it was quite difficult, but she was like, you know what? I mean, you're not really saying, can I, can't I? If you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it. Basically. And I could tell that it was hard for her, and I understand that, and I fully sympathize with that. So one of the things that she said that got me in this 3-week break of, and not an intentional break. I didn't decide I'm going to take a break for 3 weeks. But it was just hearing her, being concerned about other people's opinion, and that they might call her a bad mom. And that really hurt me, because I don't think she's a bad mom. If I were to call my mom a bad mom, then every mom would be a bad mom. There are mothers who leave their children in the street. There are mothers who, honestly, I can't think of all of the bad, quote unquote, bad things that mothers do to their kids, or things that they do for their kids that have a negative impact on them. But these things happen, and it doesn't label anybody a bad mother. And if anything, my mother is an exceptional woman. She's an exceptional mother. And I say is because she still is, and she always was, even in her mistakes. So it's something that I kind of wrestled with for a while. But besides that, I think if it's something that she's thinking, then you can only imagine what I'm thinking, because I'm telling my own story and things that have happened and things that I've done, like some of the questionable decisions that I've made. And also just I can't have a maybe somebody else will do it. I heard Will Smith did something like this, where he threw a party and basically it was like, guys, I wrote a memoir, and I'm telling my story, and some of the hard, difficult things that have happened in our relationship, is out there. And I feel that there are certain things that I said that not everybody will agree with, not everybody will be okay with, but I'm not going to sit everybody down or text everybody and be like, look, I spoke about you and I hope you're okay with it. And, I didn't want to dishonor you, but I had to tell my story, and I had to tell about the hurtful things that I experienced through you. I guess if you're watching this, I guess this is me saying it then. But for the past few weeks, it really has been something that's been difficult for me to process, because part of the reason why it took so long for me to actually finish editing the book was because I was like, should I say this? Should I not say this? How do I phrase this in a way that isn't completely dishonoring to this person, even though this is what happened though, So that's been my wrestle over the past few weeks. And another thing is just also the deadline, not the deadline, sorry, but the publishing date, right? The publishing date and the launching date. Those are things that I've been thinking about as well. These, I'm telling you guys these things because these are not things that people are like, oh, I'm going to write a book. Okay, let's write a book. No. Okay, when should I publish? Okay, the internet says it's good to publish a memoir in September. Great, let's publish in September, right? Which is what happened with me. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't make choices like that anymore. I have been trying, and I'm not saying I do this perfectly, but I try to involve God in every decision that I make, just like it says in the Word of God. I think it's Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5. You guys know the scripture. I might be getting the verse wrong, but basically, submit your ways to God, right? And he will make your path straight. I've got my phone in my hand. Why am I not opening my Bible? But anyway, I've paraphrased. That's the NVR version. So for me, that's what it is. If I'm going to write a book, I'm going to be like, God, should I say this? Shouldn't I say this? Right? And sometimes I hear God say it. And sometimes I hear nothing. And sometimes I hear God say, don't say it. And then 3 weeks later, I say it. So, it's been an interesting journey, guys. There's no ways for me to explain, even in these 15-minute videos. I hope they'll be 15 minutes. There's no way for me to fully articulate what this journey has been, but I wanted to let you in on some of the things that have been happening. So getting the date, understanding when exactly I should publish, that has also been one of the things that's been on my mind. And I felt God saying September. I did some research about it and found out that memoirs do get, a successful, there's a successful time to publish a certain type of book, right? And for memoirs, September is one of the times that's good for publishing, right? But so I'm saying we will see. But by the time you watch this, you will know exactly when the publishing date will be. I'm thinking October. But when you watch this, you will know for sure. It'll either be in the caption or you will have seen it all over my social media when the book is getting published. So in this process where I'm at right now, it is still a debate. And then the last thing I wanted to mention, which I think I've been speaking for more than 15 minutes or for almost 15 minutes. So I've been speaking for 20 minutes. So I will leave this for the next episode of Journey to Woke by yours truly. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey. I look forward to getting that book into your hands. Get it for somebody. Get it for your cousin, your friend, your bestie. Get it for that girl that you don't like, that guy that you don't like, the guy that you beefing with. Get it for whoever. I really feel like this is an important message, especially for us young people, especially in these times that we're living in and in this generation. And my prayer is that you really are awakened by this book, and that God speaks to you through the message that He's given me, and that you really find who He created you to be, and that you find Him more than anything. So thank you so much, and we shall chat soon. Oh, one more question actually before I go. Do you guys want merch? If you want merch, woke merch, I have some ideas, but I want to make t-shirts, and I think I'm also going to make bucket hats. I should have been wearing my bucket hat. I think I'm going to make bucket hats or caps, not the flat ones. It's not a baseball cap. I don't know what, it's a golf cap. I think it's a golf cap, the one with the round peak. So tell me if you want merch. I'd be happy to do it. I mean, obviously I need to use some of this fashion designer that's still in me somewhere. Tell me if you want merch, t-shirts and caps, t-shirts and bucket hats. Give me feedback. I want to say, tell me how much you're willing to pay for them, but honestly, I feel like everybody would want to pay 100 Rand for a t-shirt, but it never does cost 100 Rand for a t-shirt unless you are Mr. Price. So I will make them affordable. If you want them, I will make them affordable. I won't charge them like I charge in my brand, because it will be merch and not necessarily luxury goods. So let me know if you want them. I love you. Thank you so much. See you soon.